Hello and welcome back to the From the Terrace podcast and another episode of Champ Talk. This week, Regan is quarantining somewhere. He could be dying of the old COVID, but who cares? Because we've got Sam Barnes with us this week. So, there's always a silver lining to every bad situation, isn't there? I mean, some people wouldn't call it a bad situation. But anyway, we'll carry on. This week, me and Regan already did last week the preview to game week 5. So me and Barnes we've picked out 3 teams who have surprised us so far each in the championship, both good and bad. And we're going to go and just talk about their season so far after the first 4 games before the international break. Barnesy, you've picked 3. You've picked 2 ones that have surprised you well. Who's the first team that's been a good surprise?
City.
Bristol City. Want to elaborate on that?
Top of the league. Not going to say it's going to stay like that, but it is going to stay like that. We're going to win the league. I'm just not really surprised because all the points that Holden's made so far and all the things that he's said is coming together nicely. So he is, at the moment, he is a man of his word. I'm just surprised that we're doing this well and we're picking up this many good results and that we're top of the league. We've got a settled formation. Settled team selection, which we didn't really have under Lee Johnson. That's helped. I think it gives the players a much better understanding than, not knowing if you're in the team, not knowing what sort of style of play you're going to be playing. I think we got our business done nice and early. So the players that we've brought in, they've come into the squad during pre-season, really. And, since the start of the season, everyone's known where they are. We've got rid of a lot of deadwood, really, in our squad. We had such a big squad going into the season, and I feel like a lot of the fringe players have already left. Some are about to leave as well by transfer deadline day tomorrow. And I think what the best thing is about the performances so far is that we found different ways to win. So you look at the Stoke game, it was all us, really. They didn't really have a sniff. They didn't have a shot on target. They had a couple of chances in the second half, but nothing that really troubled us. So it was pretty much from the first minute to the 90th minute, it was all us. Whereas you look at the Forest game, we went 2-0 up inside 20 minutes. And then once they got their goal back, it was pretty much back to the wall for City. And it just showed the strength and character from players and from the manager that we were able to see it out, because that's not really like City. You would have expected us to have crumbled last season, years before that. So I just think the fact that we're able to win in different ways against different opposition stands in some really good stead for the season. So hopefully it can continue.
Bristol City are often like good starters and everything. And I've seen that if they do win this weekend, you'll be one of the first teams in the championship to ever win their first 5 league games in a season.
I think Cardiff are the only team to ever do it.
Yeah, that's so Cardiff. And I believe it was Cardiff under Warnock, wasn't it?
Yeah.
If you could nail it down to one thing, what do you think's the big difference between this season and opposed to other seasons City have started well?
I would honestly stick it to the team selection and the formation. I think finally we can go into a game knowing who's going to play, what their roles are going to be, what formation we're going to play. And if it's not working out in the first half, that I think Dean Holden's shown so far that he can change the way we play. We don't necessarily have a plan B in terms of formation or change the entire system. It's ways to win in that 3-5-2 formation. So I think it's just the players have a much better understanding of what they're doing now when they're on the pitch. Whereas you look at last year, towards the end, a lot of them were just running around like headless chickens, really.
We're talking about surprises. Is there a player who surprised you the most so far this season?
Tyrek Bakinson. When Holden got the job, we were talking about like who he's going to play, who's going to probably get rid of, and like me and Shipboy saw some videos of Bakinson like training with the City team, and we completely forgot that he existed. And even when we did, we thought, oh, he'll go out on loan. And he's come into the team. He came on against Coventry, first game of the season in the second half, and he just sits in that number 6 role in front of the back three so well, intercepting plays. And the best thing about it, as well as breaking up the play, trying to be the holding midfielder, when he gets the ball, he does like to play forward. He does always look forward, trying to start an attack. So at the moment, he's a real crucial point to the way we play. And considering we didn't think he was going to play, he was going to go out on loan to maybe Plymouth again or someone like that. It's brilliant, really.
I mean, I've heard stories myself about Bakinson and that he didn't even expect to be in the team. So it looks like he's surprised himself by getting into the side. So I'm sure Dean Holden was surprised. I'd wonder, do you think, just before we move on from Bristol City, who do you think Holden was going to have in that position then if Bakinson didn't make the surprise breakthrough?
I think it would have probably have been Masengo, really, because I think with Joe Williams, I think he can play that position. I think he's more suited to a box-to-box role. You look at Joe Morrell, I would have probably played Joe Morrell there, but obviously he's gone to Luton, which is a disgrace, in my opinion. Other than that, it would have been Morrell, Masengo, or Williams, in my opinion, but I think Williams is more suited to box-to-box. Masengo probably is as well, but I'd rather have protecting that back three. And I think we started the season against Coventry with Masengo as that defensive mid, and he got bullied in the first half. So, yeah.
I mean, he clearly saw there was a problem there and changed it. We'll move on to Bristol City now, and we'll go for one of my surprises. I mean, it seems like the pretty easy option to go for, but the team who are joint top with Bristol City, Reading. Reading have really surprised me this season, and it may be, I think they've surprised a lot of people. I might have been naive, but Reading have always looked like a side to me who have had players they brought in who have been promised quality and never really showed it and never showed any consistency. There was a team there that could be unearthed, but it felt like the manager they brought, it felt like it was a bit of a team that lost any sort of confidence and was dead in the water and had no real ideas. And this new manager came in, and honestly, I knew nothing about him. And I just heard about his track record, and I just thought he's going to be awful as well. And I worried for him to get relegated. But they've come in and they've come out absolutely flying. And I think the reason Reading are doing so well, and why I actually, although the most boring football club in the EFL, the reason I quite like them on the pitch is the attacking football they're playing. And they're putting everything through. They've pinned their hopes on Ajaria, who I wasn't completely convinced by, but everyone seemed in the Championship to rate him as a good player, and he's definitely made the most of his opportunity. He's been absolutely brilliant. Him and I believe it's Elise who's goes forward as well. Lucas Zhao is a striker I've always liked, but has never really found consistency at Sheffield Wednesday and Reading. They bought him for £7 million, so clearly they saw some talent there. And also Puskas, who's, I mean, obviously he's got the name and everyone rates him. I really like Reading. There's not too much to say about them, but it's just that I think that the football they've played and how they've gone and taken games to teams, and they beat some good sides. I mean, they went and won at Derby first game, and I know Derby have struggled, but they're no mugs, and they've beat did they beat Watford? I believe they beat Watford. Yeah, of course they did. 100%. They beat Watford, and I just think they've done brilliantly.
Yeah, 1-0. Yeah.
The only thing I would say about Reading is I think there's a difference between them and Bristol City, and it may seem harsh, and they may be getting annoyed that, I don't know, people are still writing them off. But I mean, I don't know about you, but I can't see Reading keeping up as much as I could see Bristol City.
No, it's it'll take a toll at some point. Fair play to them, but at some point it will take its toll. They've still got 42 games left. So many games around the Christmas period. At some point,
I see a team there
to compete with it.
I see a team there. Once they start losing a couple of games, it all starts to unfold, doesn't it? I mean, that might be an easy thing to say, but it's definitely how I can see it going. But fair play to Reading. I really like the way they're playing, and with Bristol City, have been far and away the best two teams in the Championship so far. Your next surprise team, Mons. Who else surprised you?
So I've gone for Birmingham. which you were a bit surprised when I said it earlier. So the reason why I've gone for them is because so far 4 games, only 1 win, but 3 draws, haven't lost yet. I just think they're quite solid so far in their opening 4 games. They've had to play Stoke, who are going to be a tough team, Swansea, who I think are going to be up there this season, and they beat Brentford.
Yeah.
And I just think against those 3 teams, you know, if Karanka wasn't there, you'd expect those 3 teams to probably win. But because Karanka, you know what you're going to get with him, because he's so solid at getting that team organised at the back and whatnot. I think they are going to be a real tough team to break down this season. And even though I still don't think they're going to be, you know, I don't think they're going to be pushing for playoffs. I think probably not going to even be top half. I do think that they are going to be one of those teams that's going to take quite a lot to break them down, and that's shown clearly. They didn't concede to Brentford nor Swansea, who are really good going forward.
I mean, if we're going off surprises, you must have not thought they were going to do this well so far into the season. What did you think of their transfer business in the summer? Because in all honesty, I thought it was quite poor. Although very Karanka-ish, I didn't think it was going to work out.
Yeah, not really surprising. Bought players from Middlesbrough who they went up with at the time a few years ago together. I wasn't really surprised. Have they got Scott Hogan now? Again.
Yeah, I tell you what, that's the signing that I like. They did make Scott Hogan.
It's a pretty decent signing.
Him and Jukovic towards the end of last season together was a brilliant partnership. And although Birmingham haven't scored a lot of goals so far, I certainly give them more hope than I did in my pre-season championship predictions. Now they got Scott Hogan in there. Yeah. And the 11th goal. About time they got rid of Lee Camp. Jesus. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think they're very average, but they're also solid as well. So they're going to be a tough team to play against.
Yeah, I agree with that. I thought they would be terrible, but they've actually turned out to be quite solid and all right so far. I mean, I'm not going to give... We're going on to the doom and gloom now. We're going on to the teams who we think have surprised us in a bad way. And my first one is actually is Norwich City. I know your next pick is going to be a similar conversation to what we have with Norwich. It's they've just started terribly. They lost 1-0 to Derby. There seems to be a real lack of consistency in team selection. I've mentioned this before, unlike Bristol City. And we've seen the teams who do best in this division, although you need depth in this league, you need a consistent team, a consistent lineup, and players who you know will be there and you can trust every week. And Norwich don't seem to have that. They seem to have uncertainties over whether players are still leaving. They had Ben Godfrey finally leave, although he played a couple of the league games, which obviously can't be helpful. They have Marcus Stiepermann, like I mentioned last week, playing now in their number 10 spot, although they signed Kieran Dow and they have Todd Cantwell and Emi Buendia still. They have Stiepermann playing in that role, a player that Daniel Farke didn't trust in the Premier League. Jordan Hugill's not getting minutes at all. The new signings are finding it hard to bed in. And it feels like the only real positives for Norwich so far this season is that one of the new signings, Oliver Skipp, started quite well, which a lot of people expected because he looks like a top talent. And Max Aarons is still at the club. Emi Buendia and Todd Cantwell are obviously there as well, but do they want to be there? They seem to be in the team one week and out of it another week. And if you're not in the team, I think clearly you don't want to be there. I mean, Norwich could pick up. I mean, Norwich definitely could pick up this season, and once those uncertainty's gone. But for a team that I thought would do really well and most likely get promoted this season, they've started really poorly, and they don't even look like much of a threat going forward, let alone their defensive woes. So, Norwich are a team that have disappointed me. I mean, I don't know what you think of Norwich, Barnes, but I mean, they signed Jordan Hugill. I mentioned this to you in the summer when they signed him, and I said he's not a Norwich player. I don't get it. I don't get why they signed him. And James said to me like, "Oh, Bill, you don't know what you're on about. They clearly show something." Well, if don't see anything in him because he's not playing, and they're playing Stephen Pukki. So I don't get why they signed him. And I don't know what you think about Norwich, but in all honesty, to me actually at the moment, this doesn't feel like something that's just temporary and they're going to get better. I think they could be in for a tough season.
Yeah, I think if I remember rightly, when we did our predictions few weeks ago, I think we were all saying and praising, how much of a good squad they've got.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe that's their downfall. Maybe they've got too many good players. Farke doesn't really know his best team. There's players that are coming in, players that are going out, not knowing who's your best team. That could be a huge downfall for them. Some of the players that they've had for a while, like Pukki, he hasn't really hit the ground running like he did last season in the Championship. I haven't really seen much of them. I saw the game against Huddersfield. I watched the highlights for that at the start of the season, which they won. But yeah, they haven't really looked convincing at all.
I mean, what would you say before we move on to the next team? Would you say Daniel Farke is a problem, and do you think that maybe they should be looking to replace him, or no?
It's very hard to do that, considering he came to Norwich first. Was it their first season they won the league?
No, he had one season before that.
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Even then, they still won the league with him, and they've still pretty much got the same squad. They're still going to try and play the same football that got them up. I think it's quite harsh if you're going to go and sack him. They're not at the bottom. They haven't been as bad as some other teams. They've just been very average, mid-table at the moment. I think it'd be very harsh if they sack him and look to replace him. I think just give him a couple more games, maybe a month or two, see if he can get the best out of the players that he's got. Hopefully, try and find some consistency with that team selection, and then see where they go from there. I still expect them to be up there, but at the moment it's been very slow.
Norwich have a lot of the same problems as the team you're going to mention next. Question marks over the manager. Question marks over the start to the season. Go on, then. Who's surprised you in a poor way this season then?
Brentford.
Yeah, God, you know what? On this one, I'm going to let you talk, and then I'm going to see if whether I agree with you or disagree or not, and then I'll voice my opinion.
Well, you've said a few of my points to me already before, so hopefully you do agree. Mm-hmm. Once again, they've started slowly. And over the past couple of years, that is what, it's been evident. If they won a couple more games in their first 10, it would have been clear that they would have got automatics, whether it had been last year or it would have been the year before with playoffs maybe. So once again, I think they've started slowly. There's no plan B in that team. I don't know what Thomas Frank's really doing with that, really, because, you look at the first game against Birmingham, that was always going to be a tough team. Even though you battered them, really, it still wasn't going well. You still weren't getting the breakthroughs to actually score. And obviously you play 4-3-3, good football, but I just don't feel like there's a good plan B when things are going, up shit creek, really, that there's a way that Thomas can turn that around with about 70 minutes to go and go, right, we're going to find a way to turn this around. Injuries haven't been kind to you. So it's not really Brentford's fault. Obviously, there's not much you can do about that. But obviously, Norgard in the game against Preston went off fairly early. Mm-hmm. And considering when you play through Norgard and he's basically the heartbeat of the team, it's going to be very difficult to get a good performance when you've got someone covering that position who's not as good as Norgard or is not as experienced in that role. Benrahma going to West Ham, I think that is massive. I think that's massive for Brentford. They've got that. Who's the guy they got in from
Saman Ghoddos?
Knowing Brentford's recruitment, it'll probably have a blinder of a season and he'll be gone to Leicester next year for 25 million. But at the moment, it's the unknown. So once again, it's one of those risky signings. Most likely will pay off, but at the moment, there's a lot of pressure on him to, fill the boots that Benrahma did, because he is such a quality player, maybe one of the best the Championship's ever seen. So I think all of that at the moment is a bit of a worry for Brentford fans, but Brentford always start slow and finish high. So I think in the long term, it's not so much of a worry, but to start the season off once again slowly, you know that for a fact. Once again, it doesn't doesn't set up well at the moment.
I mean, I don't disagree with anything you said. I completely agree. It's the slow start, it's the worries, and although Brentford do often turn it around, it's like just not again. It's not again. It's not this thought of for 75% of the season you can be the best team in the league, which we were last season. But if 25% of it you're absolute dog shit, then you're not going to get promoted, and that's a real issue. I think. More so in previous seasons, the big issue has been the turnaround in players are so high at Brentford because of the recruitment. And that has maybe meant that players have had to bed into the system and it's been a slow start. I mean, we're talking after 4 games here. I'm hoping, and usually our slow start does last up to 10 to 15 games. I'm hoping by the time this gets to 10 games, Brentford have won 5 of the next 6 and we're not worrying about a slow start again and it looks like the season can kick on. There's been not a very big turnaround in players this season. Benrahma and Watkins are obviously massive losses, but they're the only 2 noticeable ones really. Luckily, we've and David Ray had speculation, but I think finally that's over and he's back. Well, he is over. He's going to be in the team, which gives us sort of that platform from goalkeeper. Yeah, I am worried about the slow start, but I do think that it's going to kick on quicker this season than previous seasons, which was sort of the hope I'm clinging on to. In regards to Thomas Frank, I completely agree that he's not got a plan B, and that really is a worry to me. I mean, you'd say his plan B is 3 at the back, but I mean, the 3 at the back was terrible when we played it, and
it doesn't work for you.
The 3 at the back was terrible, and because we just didn't get through the thirds quick enough, and that is our strength that we play such quick football. And when we switched to the 4-3-3, we looked better. So if your plan B is to go back to a formation that didn't work as well for you, I mean, that's concerning. He does pull it out of the hat sometimes randomly. And he cost us points last season, in honesty. I remember the game against Bristol City. We were playing really well. We were playing at 4-3. We 1-0 up. That was 10 minutes ago, and he thought, I'm going to chuck and change it to 3 at the back. As soon as he did that, you put a ball into the box. Our defence looked all over the place. They hadn't been worried all night, and we conceded a late goal. I mean, I don't want to heap. Cheers. I don't want to heap loads of hate on Thomas Frank because I mean he's the guy who still got us to a playoff final in our highest position in the modern era. He's done really well, but I do feel like with the team and he's got, he should be. I mean, he shouldn't be losing some of the games we lose. And he does get found out. I think sometimes, and we can go and blow away sides. But it feels like it's too easy to come to Brentford and just sit up and shop and beat us 1-0. It just feels like that's too easy, and that's the worry for me. It feels like, I mean, you can't lose 1-0 10 times in a season like we did last season. You just can't do that. It's not acceptable. So yeah, I have reservations over Thomas Frank, but I'm not one of these people who's shouting for his head. I want to give him a chance. So yeah, I completely agree with everything said so far. And
that'll be a different story if you lose to Coventry on Saturday.
It will be a different story. And you know what? I am worried about Benrahma, but leaving. But I've got a really good feeling about Sam Angolos. And if we bring in Barry Bannon, you know what?
Game changer.
He's an absolute game changer because he's one of the best midfielders in the league, and he's.
I
genuinely think if we had bringing Barry Bannon, we keep our midfield fit of Barry Bannon, Josh Da Silva, and Christian Norgard. We win every single midfield battle in every game this season. Just hands down, because that is the best midfield in the league. Not even close to it. Even Leeds' midfield last season would have struggled against that. Anyway, we'll go on to the last team. This is my sort of one of my poorer surprises as well. I've been surprised by Barnsley's start. I mean, we all predicted them to not like do brilliantly, but to certainly steer clear of relegation before the season started, because we thought Struber, he had them playing some unbelievable football at the end of last season, managed to keep them up, although they didn't deserve to stay up because it was just Wigan's point deduction that kept them up. But Struber's gone after 4 games and they didn't really do any business in the summer. And I mean, the only thing that I think anyone clinged on to wasn't any sort of member of the Barnsley squad. No one thought Cauley Woodrow was going to be the reason they flew up the league. I mean, he's absolute dross. It was Gerhard Struber. Now he's left to New York Red Bulls. I mean, I'm surprised by the bad start of 4 games under him, but now he's gone. I think that absolutely.
They haven't won at all yet, have they?
No, they I think they drew 1, lost 3, and I think that they're absolutely doomed to go down at the moment. Have they even appointed a replacement? I don't believe they have they?
Don't think so. But you can, if you're a betting person, you can bet on them to beat City.
Yeah, I mean, no, this is the thing. If you're a team who's
the City way,
a team who's down there like that at the moment, and I think, right, you're down in the dumps. You've lost your manager. A lot of those players had so much belief in that manager, and now he's gone. They're thinking, "What am I doing up here at Barnsley?" But then you'd think, right, new start. If we can win,
they seem to be in free fall.
If we can win our next game, they're thinking maybe there's hope. Maybe we didn't have to rely on Stuart. They're playing Bristol City. They're going to lose, and they're going to get absolutely battered. And I just think confidence is going to be so on the floor. But I mean, let's be honest, Barnsley weren't a good team last season. For most of it, they were terrible. So it's no surprise. I guess it is no surprise that they're a terrible team.
Technically, they're a League One team. That's how bad they were last year.
Oh, exactly. There you go. Struber saved them. I mean, I don't know what you think, but I just think, can you pick out anyone in that team? I mean, I bet you can even, let alone pick out anyone who's good. I bet you can't even pick out a player in that team who's going to do anything for Barnsley.
The only player I can think of at the moment is Cauley Woodrow, and he seems to be going to Cardiff, so he's not even going to be there.
Is he going
by this time tomorrow? Apparently.
I've not even heard that, but that's, I mean, yeah, if Cauley Woodrow goes, I mean, even though I don't rate him at all, he's still one of the better players, and he's one of their goal outputs. So
yeah,
I'll be really worried for Barnsley. I just think, yeah, it's been a surprise. I thought Struber has all of his I don't know, Austrian and the German sort of contacts. He's getting a few more players. They would be the same as what they were last season, but a better version of it. But they're nothing of that. They were all over the place. They lost to Reading. They were was
he not getting backed by their owners? Is that why he's gone?
Well,
and obviously for the money as well.
Yeah, he came out and said that he has certain ambitions and stuff, and the club isn't matching that. So I mean, clearly that says he wasn't. But and I mean, I just think, what are you doing as Barnsley? I know it's a hard time to like invest money at the moment, but it's not like you've ever really invested money anyway. What do these owners expect? Are they? I mean, I don't get. Barnsley could stay in, like, if it's just staying in the Championship earns you so much money than being in League One. Surely there's some sort of risk. You can put in a little bit of money to try and. If you're not backing your manager at all, you're doomed from the start, especially with the squad they've got. I don't know what some of these owners think. I really don't. Look, there's the complete contrast for me is Luton and Barnsley. Luton they've went and signed Joe Morrell for £1 million in Bristol City, who I think at the bottom of that.
Apparently, that only cost 200k. There was another report saying it only cost 200k today.
See, you don't even have to spend loads. You just have to back him and back your man.
Yeah.
That hit Joe Morrell at the bottom of Nathan Jones's diamond. I mean, like just little signs like that.
It's a brilliant signing.
Little signs like that. Luton are completely. You'd have put Luton and Barnsley pretty equal before the season started. They're just 4 games in, and I can only see the seasons going 2 completely different ways for those clubs.
Yeah.
I mean, I bet we better wrap that up now. Let's have 6 surprises, 3 surprises each for the start of the Championship season. We're only 4 games in. We could probably do another 10 games in, and we'll completely change our minds. And Brentford will be flying at the top of the league, and Bristol City will hopefully be doomed and relegated already, having lost 6 out of the next 6. But seeing as Barnsley are their next opponents, I really don't think that's going to be the case. Cheers, Barnes, for coming on. I'm sure you'll come on again soon.
Yeah, no worries, mate.
Remember to like the video, subscribe to the From the Terrace podcast YouTube channel, and leave us a rating on iTunes. And we'll see you in the next Champ Talk.